Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. Are you Katie?
Yes, is this Graciela?
Graciela, yes.
Hi, wonderful to meet you. And thank you for joining the video conference. This is the first one. I'm going to try to set this up so it can record us. I've never done this before. So.
Start my video. Am I supposed to start?
No, not you, me.
Okay. It's supposed to ask you to start your video.
Oh, yeah, to record it. Let's see. All right. Let's see. I think we're good, actually. I think this is the first time I've actually done a Zoom seminar. I've been a member of one numerous times, which is great.
Well, that's the thing. We're all learning how to do this. It's the same for me. You know, I'm a teacher, so I'm trying to learn how to teach online and do a garden program online, and it's all.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Let me see something here. So, are you able to turn on your video or no?
I just press it. It says start my video.
Great. Okay. I can see you. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, did you happen to get the worksheet that I sent? I sent a reminder one recently, like within the last 5 minutes. It was the handout. I thought I'd sent it to the list. There's 15 people who signed up for this a couple days ago, but I want to just make sure.
Let me look here.
Okay.
Oh, here's an example questionnaire. Okay, I didn't see.
Right. I had tried to send this a couple days ago, and I didn't hear back from anybody, so I was worried that no one got it. So I sent it again within the past, literally 10 minutes.
Okay,
And this is not anything you have to do prior to the call, and I'll kind of go over what it is. I just wanted to make sure people actually received it. Oh, here's Megan. Okay.
Got it. Although, you know, I'm in California, and at first I put this down as, 1 o'clock time, and because I think the first thing didn't say it was Eastern time, and I've gotten caught with this before.
Duly noted. I have to make that clear.
At the very beginning, say Eastern time, or even, go ahead and tell, Pacific time.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Let's see. Hello. Welcome. We're going to give everybody a few more minutes to join us. Can everyone see me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, welcome. Just out of curiosity, because I sent a Word document a couple days ago, and I wasn't sure if people received it, so I resent it within the past couple of minutes. Did everyone receive that? It's called Handout 1, Your Homework. You don't need to complete it prior to this, and there'll be more coming. So I just want to make sure the first one actually worked. Let me know if you didn't receive it. But so, Graciela, did I pronounce your name correct? You're in California?
Graciela in California, yes.
Okay. I definitely need to note that it's Eastern Standard Time. Out of curiosity, what do you do?
My organization is called West County Digs, and we build school gardens in the area around Richmond, California, West Contra Costa County, and particularly in one school, Mira Vista. And, we're all anxious. What does school look like? I have no blanket idea. I don't even know if we have a school garden program or what it's like, but we've done a lot to make up for that. And a lot of it was our social media and our outreach. And a lot of it's because my daughter came home during the quarantine and she was really good at it. So we did all these instructional videos and got on 5 platforms, and it's a whole different world for me. So I'm just trying to build that part of our education. And so I just thought I'd see what you have to say about that.
Yeah, no, that's good to know. Well, and that's an admirable organization to be involved with. And yeah, I don't think people have figured out what schools are going to look like. That seems to be a work in progress, but
and day by day, there's a lot of cracks in the school system, the economy, our health, racial tension. There's a lot going on, and it certainly affects the schools and certainly teachers, how we look.
I'm on the call.
Sure.
Hello? What?
Yeah. Hi. Megan, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, wonderful. Oh, I love your photo. It's great.
Thank
Where
you.
are you located?
I'm in Montana, in Helena, Montana. I work for Montana Legal Services, and I'm our disaster project coordinator, which has become more of a communications job than almost anything else at the moment. So,
Well, thank you for joining us. And I wanted to confirm you got the worksheet of handout 1, your homework, I hope. It wasn't due prior to this call or this session. I just want to make sure my emails are, when I send out blast group emails, I'm sometimes concerned that they get into spam folders. So I sent it a couple. Yeah.
I have an example. Oh, yes, the handout number 1, your homework. Yes, I did get it.
Okay, great. Great. Good. Okay. And it looks like we have a few more people who are joining us. Hello. Hi. So I have a fairly hard stop, which I can adjust a little bit, but I've got basically the blaster set up just to give you sort of how this works. What the intention of this is to sort of give you on a macro level view some strategies and ideas behind outreach, and they're brief. They're only, a half hour for each blast. But after each session, the following Monday, I send out a Word document which helps you to drill down on your own. You don't have to submit them to me. Some more information to help you strategize and letting people into the meeting. So just anticipate that you're going to receive quote unquote homework, which is really not due to me. It's really to help you sort of think through things. And because this is the first Zoom seminar I've conducted, I've certainly participated in a fair number of them at this point. Seems like daily for the past couple weeks. But if at any point you have any questions, feel free to email them to me. And I will do my best in the next couple of days to respond. Again, because these are set up for these core sort of concrete half-hour sessions. I'm going to give you broad strokes, some information, and then send out a Word document for you to do quote-unquote homework. And just to confirm, everyone so far has received the handout number 1, your homework. It's a 2-page Word document. Has everyone?
Yes.
Let me know if you didn't get it. I'm going to get started. So basically, welcome, thank you. A little bit about me and why I'm doing this. So I own a design studio. It's been based in Washington, D.C. We turned 15 years old this past January. And while the studio works with a wide range of clientele, primarily, I would say 70 to 75% of our clients are in the nonprofit sector. And that's my background as well. for years, I worked for the International Youth Foundation, which I left in 2004 to start my firm in 2005 in DC. I had started there in 1999. So my background is in NGOs, primarily focusing on youth development. But out of that, and the reason behind sort of starting my studio was that I believe that as an idealist, I can take that passion for social justice and equity and marry it with my creative abilities. And as such, I've been really fortunate to work with any number of clients who are doing good work in the world. I really see it as not just a form of, income, but it's really, I would say it's my calling. So with that in mind, what I want to do in terms of sort of these seminars is allow you to amplify your impact, wherever it may be, and help you with some basic tools. So again, these seminars on a macro level for a half hour, I can give you a little bit of background for why I'm going to then send you the information I am to help you sort of streamline and be prepared to do your outreach with as efficiently and as streamlined a way as possible. None of us have a lot of time on our hands, and we certainly aren't working with big budgets. That's been my experience with my nonprofit clients. Let me know if that's not your your situation, but I'll assume for the purposes of this seminar that it is. So what we're going to talk about today, and I feel that it's really core to determine and understand fully before you do any outreach, is your audience. You might be working in a wide range of areas, and no matter what the particular area might be, you have a core group of audience and constituents that you already connect with, but you're most likely looking to connect with more, whether it's for fundraising purposes, whether you're trying to recruit more donors, volunteers, voters, whether you're trying to mobilize people. All of you, I imagine, are looking to use the tools that you have with the limited budgets that I assume you do to maximum effect. And so I really sort of caution people to take some steps prior to even creating any content or sending out anything or doing any kind of outreach. And that could be phone banks, that could be door-to-door. No matter what the outreach is, really sort of step back and evaluate who your audience is and who it is that you're trying to connect with. Does that make sense? Yeah. And I tell people that there's a 3-part challenge to all of your outreach. The first one is to identify those groups that you want to reach, and to figure out where they're at and go where the audience is. 2, you need to determine the effective channels to reach them. And then 3, you create your content and messaging. So that's sort of the sequential order of how effective communications work. And I'm sure most of you already know this. So what we're going to do right now is kind of go over, sorry, I've got a lot of handouts here, how you determine where your audience is, and how do you figure out how to reach them if you're not currently doing that. How many of you are already participating in either online discussions, or you have a list, say, that you created in your e-newsletters that you send out, or you're using social media? Do any of you not use any of those tools? Okay. I would assume that you're sort of using all the above. And after this call, I should say, if there's something that I didn't cover, because it's only a half hour, Again, feel free to email me. And my email is Kate, K-A-T-E, at ktdcreative.com. And that's been in, of course, all the emails that I've sent you. But essentially, what you need to do before any outreach is, again, identify your audience, and then you want to sort of move forward from there. So I'm going to give you an example of how this would work. So let's just say you were trying to create a campaign, an online campaign, and you are trying to encourage more support. And basically, you've probably got already a group of activists that you are connected to. They're probably already volunteering with you, and let's hope. And they're really probably a small segment of your overall audience. Those are your tried and true supporters. That's your core group. You may have a larger group of what I call our supporters, but they're not as engaged. And these might be people who are, and I'm guilty of this myself, where I will come out, say on election day, and vote for a candidate who I believe in. But I am a supporter, but I'm not as engaged as the core group. And then there are the third group, which is basically people who are uninvolved, and they may, for any number of reasons, not be interested in your cause or your organization, or they just aren't aware of you. But those are basically the three segments of an audience, current audience and potential audience for a campaign. How many of you have any familiarity with those audiences, and have you done any, you can just nod your head, have you done any outreach to any of them? You have, okay, that's great. And I'm sure that you find that that small segment of your core activists, they're always there. And I say that they are absolutely the bedrock of any outreach for two reasons. One, they are already supportive, whether it's through donations or, what I call sort of boots on the street. They're already out there advocating and volunteering, but they're influencers. Every single one of them has a network of people, whether it's colleagues, family, friends, and oftentimes I think in our outreach, a lot of organizations, they forget that core group of activists and supporters, that they can really leverage their networks too. It's just something to keep in the back of your mind, because that passionate group of people is arguably one of your most important audiences and supporters. The larger group, I call them sort of the second tier, that are a little more passive. And again, I mentioned this, that I'm not guilty. That describes me because I'm a passive supporter of any number of organizations, and when I can, I like to donate or share a particular campaign on my Facebook or social media. But in any case, that's a really great and receptive audience that you can tap into. And then the larger group, the third, who are currently uninvolved, again, they're there for you to cultivate. Sorry, forgive me, because this is the first time I'm doing this. I'm a little bit of an introvert. So even though you're on the other side of the screen, I'm a little nervous, but I'll be okay. This is my first time, so just bear with me. So we've identified, sort of in broad strokes, three audiences that you are probably currently communicating with, or you want to communicate with. And within those three broad categories, all of them are made of different demographics and generations. So let's just say, for example, you know, you've got these three different broad categories on one sort of like on a macro level of audiences that are potential for you. But then within all of those, you've got different generations, different ways that those generations, and here's where I'm going to generalize a little bit about some of the ways those various generations like to receive information or engage. And I'll use my father as an example. So my father's 93 years old. He's a member of the greatest generation. He's very active. He lives in an assisted care apartment center, and he's head of the Democrats group in this organization. And he is very engaged. He likes to write checks because he has the ability to do that. And he also is very outspoken, which is great. But he doesn't use a computer. We have a computer for him. He doesn't want to use it. He has a flip phone. The only way to really reach him is through direct mail or phone calls. And because he gets so much, you know, solicitations by the phone, he generally these days doesn't even answer the phone. So you have his generation. And I would argue that most people in their 80s and 90s probably will be more apt to open up an envelope rather than an email. That's just a generalization, but using my dad as an example and his friends, that's how he likes to be engaged. And the second audience after that would be the boomers, and a large segment of the population that is similar to my dad is receptive to direct mail, phone banks, but is also very active, you know, on the internet, social media, and certainly is at this point very much open to, if you found in their organizations, this particular segment of the population is somewhat technically savvy, despite what some people might think that they are. And then there's my generation. I'm Gen X. And I am on the internet probably like most of you. I don't know when I'm not on the internet. My phone is with me at all times. I receive any number of SMS texts multiple times a day. I'm on countless lists for e-newsletters. I am constantly receiving solicitations by mail, occasionally by phone. But in essence, what I'm saying is my way of engaging with an organization or a campaign is it's wide open. I would say there isn't any channel or medium that I'm not reachable by. Then after me, of course, you have millennials, and then after them, Gen Zs. And I would argue that after my generation, the shift in outreach and engagement is much more digital. And that can either be by text, it can be by social media, and then within social media, there's always trends. Everyone's probably aware of that wide spectrum, correct? You know, so if you are sort of taking the three categories that I described in broad strokes, and then you've got an understanding of some basic demographics and ways that different generations, primarily, again, this is from a generalized viewpoint, like to engage, those are your filters. Does that make sense? You're sort of figuring out, you know, some of the ways that your audience, current audience and potential audiences might be receptive. And then you've got sort of your top level supporters and potential audiences that you want to reach. Does that make sense? So you sort of take that understanding, and then once you have a particular audience identified, you then obviously would want, that's my alarm. We'll have to end the call in about 10 minutes. We're going a little over, but in any case, again, after this, I'm going to be sending you by Monday some homework that is not, you don't need to submit it to me, but it's going to build on sort of this macro level overview. But I'm going to give you actual case studies that I'm going to try to sort of outline how you identify the audience for a campaign, volunteer engagement, or donation. Out of curiosity, is there anyone who's participating right now who has no experience with communications at all? Like how novel is any of this information? It's almost sort of fairly general and known. Okay, that's great. So what we're going to do is, again, sort of go over a little bit about, once you've identified the audiences, what are you then trying to do? And what are the channels to best reach them? Again, primarily, I'm just going to assume it's either for fundraising, recruiting donors, volunteers, voters, and mobilization. Evaluating who the audiences are and really targeting towards your message to those specific audiences is key. Communication should never, I think, be like a shotgun blast. It should be very, which is probably a terrible analogy, but the point being, it can't be scattershot in general. It should be very targeted to best use your time and your financial resources. In terms of channels, what we're going to do as part of the worksheet that I'm going to be sending you with the 3 sort of case study scenarios is giving you an idea of how you would, well, that's my dog, how you would, if you were trying to organize a campaign and mobilize some volunteers and voters, how you would do any outreach for them. Is this all making sense so far? Okay. Again, if you have any specific questions, you can email me at kate@ktdcreative.com. Out of curiosity, with the worksheet that I sent, which was about background, overview, project objectives, deliverables, target audience, tone and messaging, and sort of broad strokes, how many of you have found that that was helpful in kind of organizing some of your thoughts around your communications? Oh, that's great news. Okay. Just so you know, this worksheet is used for our nonprofit clients and for some of our business clients as well. I try to frame the questions to be fairly general, but that first worksheet is really just to sort of get everybody thinking about communications sort of in a really broad sense. And it covers the very core fundamentals that are imperative with any outreach. So if you have any questions about that document, feel free to let me know. Before we get off the call, because we're going to have to soon, I just want to also bring something to your attention, which is even though you need to identify your audience and make sure you evaluate how you're going to reach those audiences, who they are, and determine the effective channels, and then tailor the content and message to reach them. I want you to also think about, come here, buddy, a little bit about your organization's sort of strengths and how you kind of map out, come here, buddy. It's my dog, sorry. Bentley. think about some of the strengths of your organization in terms of your outreach, and maybe some of the areas that you could improve upon. And maybe just jot those down, and sort of keep those in mind, because what you want to do is make sure that in some of the areas that you're already strong in, you're not duplicating your efforts, that you try to bolster some of the areas that you may not be particularly strong in. Again, the whole goal is to have you communicate as effectively and efficiently as possible, on a minimal budget and a minimal amount of time, because no one has enough of it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in terms of the homework I'm going to be sending you on Monday, it's going to, again, give you sort of 3 case studies with some information as to how those audiences, who makes up those audiences, and some suggested ways to reach them. And if you have any ideas, these are worksheets for you to fill in and complete. They're resources for you. I'm not grading. You don't need to send them back to me. But I'm also going to give you an example of sort of the list that a lot of our organizations create in terms of when we initially sit down with them as a design studio, we ask, tell us what you're doing really well. What is effective so far? Where is it that you feel that you are not that strong in? And what are those areas? What are those weaknesses? That level of collaboration is something that everyone needs to do, and it requires some self-awareness about your organization. And come here, buddy, get in here. Sorry, that's my dog. Come here. Come in here. Sorry. Does that all make sense? But okay, this is him. He's ready for his lunch. Sorry. This is Bentley. So thank you for your time. Again, if you have any questions, email me. But if you can, on Monday, by 2 o'clock, Monday afternoon, you should have the follow-up documents that I'll be sending you. Once you get them, again, I encourage you to read them and complete them and keep them. If you feel that you need further information about those worksheets and you want to learn a little bit more, I'm happy to respond to an email or jump on a call. Again, what I'm trying to do is allow you, hopefully, to take some of this information and maximize your impacts and efforts. Thank you for being part of the first group to allow me to do this.
Thank you.
Oh, you're
Thank you.
welcome.
for
Have a
sharing.
great rest of the day. I'll be in touch by Monday.
All right.
Thanks.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.